Right. So in the fourth place, we have community cloud, but it is not always very much pronounced because basically it's just like hybrid cloud some way. So what is public cloud essentially? It is simply a cloud that is being that is processed and is made to be accessed by anyone from anywhere in the world. These computational resources are made available to the general public by the cloud service provider. When we talk of cloud service provider, we're talking about Google, Amazon, Microsoft, etc. And some of the public cloud services that they have made available for people like us to use are SaaS like Gmail and Google Docs. You might be asking yourself what I mean by SaaS. Some of you, I believe, already know what a SaaS is. Those are some of the services of cloud computing. But we're going to talk at it. We're going to look at it in the next as we proceed into the slides. So there's also a private cloud deployment model. As the word entails, private, it is simply a model whose resources are made available only to a single organization or to a specific group of people. Private clouds can be hosted internally at the expense of the enterprise, right? And there's need for expertise to install to set up a private cloud, and it can also be hosted externally by a third party. So how do you implement a private cloud on a third party? It is through the usage of VPS. I need somebody to type in the comment section or in the chat section what a VPS is. Try getting it without Google searching. Next, we have a community cloud. And as we said, it is something that is not very much pronounced, but we are just going to talk about it because it falls within our scope of study. So it's a cloud designed to be shared by several organizations. So if there is a cloud service that is implemented like for Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and other big tech companies to associate and like share resources or information, that cloud model is going to be a community cloud infrastructure. So access is granted only to the users within the organizations who are sharing the community cloud infrastructure. Last but not the least, we talk about hybrid cloud, and it's a cloud that is a combination of public, private, and community cloud resources from the different service providers. So that being said, we now talk about the various services that are offered inside a cloud, the concept of cloud computing. We do have IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. Sometimes we say IaaS, sometimes we say IaaS. This simply refers to infrastructure as a service. As per the definition here, an IaaS is, or an infrastructure as a service, is a service that delivers infrastructure to the client, such as processing, storage, network, and virtual environment, whereby the client can deploy and run their applications without having to buy physical servers, data center space, or networking equipment. That being said, we're going to take this use case scenario where you are a developer and you want to build yourself an application. To build an application, you need a lot of RAM. You need a lot of monitors. You need a lot of CPUs, a lot of storage. But you cannot buy all of those because the server equipments are very, very expensive. So what you can do is from a cloud service provider like Google, who is already having these resources set up, you can simply rent some of these resources. E.g., you're renting processing power, you're renting storage, you're renting network environment, and the other virtual environments and infrastructures to run your applications on them. So that being said, you have purchased infrastructure as a service. Platform as a service, on the other hand, is a service that delivers everything a developer needs to build an application. The deployment comes without cost and complexity of buying and managing the underlying hardware and software layers. So contrary to the IaaS, where you actually have to buy the processing power, the storage, and everything uniquely, with the IaaS, you can just exactly buy the resources, the software, the top layer completely without caring about what is being underneath. What is the network? What is the hardware, or what is the software? You only use the top tier layer, and it creates a platform for you to run your applications without caring about all those details. Last but not the least, we talk about software as a service, or a SaaS. A SaaS is a service that delivers software applications to the client, either over the internet or on a local area network. Well, I would like to really talk much on this, because what we are using right now to communicate is a SaaS, Zoom. Zoom is a software as a service platform, which provides a software application to people over the internet or a local area network. So this means that we could as well connect ourselves on a local area network and then use them to communicate within the same building, in as much as we can do communicate also within a network. Examples of some SaaS. I need you guys to give me at least two examples each of what is SaaS, of SaaS applications. I'm listening.
So an example is a Google Meet.
I beg your pardon?
Example is wait, let me. I said Google. Is it Google Meet?
Yes, you said Google Meet.
Are you getting me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Google Meet and
Yes, sir.
two. Give two.
I already said Zoom now.
Okay. So Mazule, any two examples of SaaS space?
So we have Google Workspace.
I said
Workspace,
you're done. It's okay. Thank you very much. We're hearing from Mazule now. Mazule. Mazule, any two examples of SaaS applications? SaaS.
Yes, sir. LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yes.
WhatsApp.
Beg your pardon. Did anyone hear her, or I'm the only person that didn't hear?
Are you getting me, sir?
Yeah, go ahead now. I can hear you perfectly.
There is WhatsApp.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to hear from Ms. Nafisa. Ms. Nafisa, if you, from your understanding of what we just explained a SaaS to be, what are two examples of SaaS applications also based on the answers that your other mates here just talked about? Can you give two examples of SaaS applications, software as a service, like applications that are installed on the network so that people can then access them remotely? Ms. Nafisa, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any idea?
I have Facebook. Facebook as an app on anyone say Telegram.
I beg your pardon?
Telegram.
Telegram, wonderful. What else?
Telegram and Facebook.
Good. Those are software, those are SaaS applications. So they are basically the resources are being, all the processing is done in the cloud. You don't have to do any of it. You just access the resource and use it on site from the over using the internet connection. So Sidan, we also hear from you two SaaS applications. In the meantime, someone can surprise me with a PaaS application or an EAS. Someone can, you guys can let me know that you're reading and tell me what is SaaS with PaaS application and PaaS and EAS.
So we have Twitter.
Twitter. Twitter and I believe that is understood. So let's proceed by breaking down the whole concept of cloud computing. You can see that there is storage service, processing service, and data analysis resources that are being placed somewhere referred to as the cloud. It does not necessarily mean that that thing is inside the cloud, like the geographical cloud that we all know, but it's a cloud, it's just a remote location where you don't that nobody knows the actual location of, almost nobody, except the cloud provider, the cloud service provider. So
Instagram.
hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we can see that local devices such as monitors, laptops, laptops, iPads, and mobile phones can connect to the cloud services using networks. So this simply brings us to an understanding that irrespective of the device you're using, so long as it has networking capabilities, you can implement cloud technologies using them or accessing this through these devices. So as we talked about the public, private, and hybrid cloud models, we just said with the access level of public cloud is anyone. For private cloud is a specific organization or people, while a hybrid cloud is a combination of the two previous ones we just talked about. So now, in terms of the cloud services, we just talked about software infrastructure and platform as a service. But there's another one that is coming in the picture right here that we can see, which is storage as a service. There are a lot more other services within the cloud infrastructure, but we just generally assess these three as the major ones, whereby there are a combination of all three that bring up another category. So cloud computing is flexible because there are use of multiple devices. You can access these resources from anywhere in the world. You can access the applications without need for any duplication. So there's just a single application where everybody is using it, and there is easy provisioning and the provision of these services. So now you can there were some benefits as well of cloud computing, that you can provide these services to yourself without anybody helping you through the use of APIs. And you can also set limits to monitor your usage, given that the payment module, method for this cloud computing services is a pay-as-you-go model, which means you only pay for the resources that you use. And above everything, cloud computing is easy to use. We talk about, and IaaS is simply hardware as a service, right? Infrastructure, the hardware that you use need to develop your stuffs. Whereas a PaaS, platform as a service, provides the implementation, the solution stack for you to design, develop, test, and deploy your applications. And last but not the least, a SaaS is a provisioning of business applications that have multi-tenancy. So to permit us to do the various things that you want to perform in life. So it could be for communication, networking, processing, calculations, entertainment, whatever it is. But we are interacting with a lot of SaaS applications or on a daily basis. So summarily, we have talked about infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service within this model. Do you guys have any question before we proceed to the next model, which is virtualization? Do we have any questions?
So please, I don't know, could you come back a little bit on IaaS and PaaS?
Yes, and PaaS. Okay.
Okay.
What exactly have you not understood about them? The definition, the implementation, or the resources that are involved?
Actually, I came a little bit late on the class, so I heard only about that.
Okay. So I'm just going to go back real quick to where. Okay. So IaaS stands for infrastructure as a service, and it's a service within the cloud space that delivers infrastructure to the client. When we talk of infrastructure, we're talking about processing, such as RAM and CPU power, storage, network, and virtual environments like an operating system. So when you're using an IaaS, you basically don't install anything on your computer. The only thing that you need is a browser. Okay. So the client can deploy and run their softwares without purchasing any server, the data center space, or any networking equipment. All you need is your computer with an internet connection, either Wi-Fi or LAN. A platform as a service is a service that delivers everything that a developer needs to build an application. The deployment comes without the cost and the complexity of buying and managing the underlying hardware and software. So basically, you only get access to like an operating system, and every other resource under it is being provided to you. I don't know if you guys understand. There are several cloud providers. We have Amazon under the brand name AWS. We have Google under the brand name Azure. We have Google under the brand name GCP, Google Cloud Platform. We also have Microsoft under the brand name Azure, Heroku, and a lot more of other cloud computing cloud service providers. Do you have any other question, my dear?
Yes, sir, please. So what could be an example of PaaS? I'm sure if I understand well,
Yes.
let's say EAS. Google
Yes.
could be an example, right?
Yes, one infrastructure as a service.
Yes. So, but PaaS, I can't seem to really understand it well.
Okay. So some examples of PaaS that we can look at. There are a lot of companies that provide PaaS services. Even Google itself provides PaaS services. Microsoft as well. Microsoft Azure provides that. We have Heroku. Heroku, I thought of Heroku previously. All of them provide. So these various cloud providers, they all have provision for these various services that we're talking about. All of them, they do have the complete services. So when we start naming, first of all, for everyone, know that Microsoft, Google, and Amazon, they are first of all the first people that come into the picture. Okay, they're the first people that come into the picture. Before now, we start looking at other people like Apache, Oracle, Heroku, OpenShift, and a lot more of other cloud service providers. Is that all right?
Okay, sir. Thank
Do
you.
you have any other question? You're
Yes, sir.
welcome. Do you have any other question?
No, sir. The rest I'll just look in the record. Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome. Now we're moving to virtualization. We're moving to virtualization. The skills that you will learn here is under this module, assuming that you've gone through chapter 6 here, is how to use VirtualBox and install a virtual operating system. What does this mean? Install an operating system inside your operating system or on top of your operating system. I don't know if that makes sense, but those are some of the skills that you guys will get. Get yourself ready for chapter 7. We are going to go completely practical. Everybody's going to access either my computer or through their computer. They're going to be doing a lot of practicals and implementing the things that we're going to discuss. So apparently, the skills that you're supposed to get from this module is how to use VirtualBox. Oracle VirtualBox is a software that permits you to virtualize operating systems. What does virtualization stand for in the first place? Virtualization is a means of abstracting a software, abstracting the installation of an operating system on top of an actual operating system by creating creating a software version of all the processing resources or computer resources that are needed for an operating system to run. So it actually creates like a not physical version, but a software version of it. I'm trying to break that concept down to not use a lot of technical terms because, excuse me 1 second. Excuse me, guys. Does anyone know do you guys know the meaning of the word virtual? Do you all know the meaning of the word virtual? Yes. Okay, Josh, do you know the meaning of the word virtual? Josh, are you in class?
Yes, sir.
Do you know the meaning of the word virtual?
Yes, I know the meaning of the word virtual.
Okay, Mazule, do you?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What about Ms. Nafisa? Do you know the meaning of the word virtual?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Very good. Virtualization, therefore, is the process of creating a virtual representation of computing resources such as storage, processing, and other requirements that an operating system needs to operate. In that sense, VirtualBox is a software that creates a virtual environment for you to install an operating system within your current operating system. So this means that you can have an operating system like Ubuntu Linux installed inside your Windows operating system, thereby permitting you to use Linux and Windows all at the same time. I mean, at the same time, not like switching, using them at the same time. Isn't that cool, guys? I want to believe that some of you have already gone far enough to use a VirtualBox, but in case you haven't, I'll put a link in the description, in the chat, in the group, for you guys to go and download VirtualBox. Download VirtualBox and try playing around with it, installing operating systems. There is another software also, VMware Player. VMware does the same thing that VirtualBox does. The only difference is VMware is from a different provider and VirtualBox is provided by Oracle. Okay, Oracle. So this also going to learn how to use Hyper-V, create virtual machines and virtual hard disk. Now, a hypervisor. Those are some terms that you will learn here: a hypervisor, virtual machine, virtual hard disk, virtual switch, and virtual router. So if you know what the switch is, you know what the router is, you already know what virtual vSwitch and vRouter are. The hypervisor is a thin layer of software that resides between your virtual operating system and the computer hardware. So we all know that the operating system is that software that communicates directly with the hardware and through which other operating systems access the hardware. If WhatsApp needs to use my camera, WhatsApp needs to pass first of all through the operating system that is installed on my device before it uses the hardware, which is the camera. But then a hypervisor is going to stand directly between the virtual operating system that you've created and the computer's hardware. Now, not to confuse you guys, there are two types of hypervisors. Okay, there are hypervisors. There are tier 1 hypervisors and tier 2 hypervisors. The synonym for tier 1 hypervisors are bare metal hypervisors. So those are those hypervisors that sorry for using hypervisors a lot, but a tier 1 hypervisor or bare metal hypervisor is that type of hypervisor that sits directly in between the computer hardware and the virtual operating system. Whereas a tier 2 hypervisor is one that sits between the virtual operating system and the computer and the host operating system. I believe you understand. Which means if we install Linux in a virtual machine inside Windows, Windows is the host operating system and Linux is the guest or the virtual operating system. I want to believe that that concept is understood. A virtual machine is a software implementation of a computer that functions like physical computer, including application execution. So when you talk about installing a virtual machine or creating a virtual machine, you're simply installing like another copy of your physical machine within your machine, but they basically behave the same. Everything is virtualized to behave exactly as a normal computer would. The virtual hard disk is a file which is created within the host operating system, as we said, that simulates a hard disk for the virtual machine. So the file that you need to, the hard disk is no longer required, the physical hard disk is not required, but a file is being created within the host operating system to act as though it was a physical hard disk for the current guest operating system. So the traditional computational model is one in which you have the operating system that is communicating with the hardware, the hardware that communicates with the applications through the operating system. But then you realize that with this particular implementation, there is a lot of idle space. Look at a server like this one that has like 128 gigabytes, the first one. From the traditional implementation where we have only one operating system and then applications running on them, you can never install enough applications to use up all these resources. So you only find yourself using just 10% of the CPU space, and then over 90% is being idle. Idle means not utilized. So you find yourself spending now a lot. If you need to have 10 operating systems, you buy 10 servers. 10 servers that will each have one operating system each. That's the traditional computation model. But then with the use of hypervisors, you find yourself now in a level where on a single server, you can install 5 operating systems and then utilize every single capacity that is found in that server. So instead of buying 10 servers now, you find yourself buying just 2 servers and installing 5 operating systems on them, each using a hypervisor. So as we said, the type 1 hypervisor, as you see here, it sits directly between the virtual operating systems, the virtual machine, and the hypervisor. So remember, the hypervisor, type 1 hypervisor or bare metal hypervisor sits directly between the computer hardware and the virtual machines. On the other hand, we have the type 2 hypervisor that sits between the virtual machines and the host operating system. In this model, the host operating system is still the one that communicates with the computer hardware. Some advantages of having working with virtualization is that you experience a lot of IT agility, which means it's very flexible for you to move from one unit to another, and it is generally cost saving. It is easier for you to scale, and there is increased performance since you are utilizing all of your resources. So the virtual desktop infrastructure is the next concept that we're learning about. Sorry for going this fast. I just want to make sure that you understand a lot of concepts before we get your questions. So in a VDI or virtual desktop environment on a server, the various virtual machines are being installed. Beg your pardon. In a virtual desktop infrastructure or VDI, several virtual machines are being installed on a server. And then using thin clients or clients with not much processing power, the connection broker now redirects you access to all these virtual desktops. So if there are like 7 machines installed inside one server, we can have 7 minimal computers or just monitors that are going to connect to the server and then utilize this operating system that are installed within them. So now we're going to talk about the VDI implementation. So in order to implement a virtual desktop environment, we can do it on-prem, or within the company's infrastructure, or we can implement it in the cloud. This means that you can host operating systems in the cloud or on your company's server, okay? Don't think a server is a specific type of computer. A server is just a computer like yours. The difference is that everything there is bigger, but it does not have most of the time it does not have a dedicated monitor. You can just plug in a monitor just to configure some things there. But most of the time, servers don't have screens on them, but they are just computers with huge resources and huge computational power. But that the main difference with yours is that computer is on 24/7. It almost never goes off. 99.99% of uptime. Uptime versus downtime. I want you guys to tell me what you understand by uptime versus downtime. Okay. So as we all see, the implementation of when you implement on-premise VDI, you get all the hardware and software are being bought and they are owned by the company. But when we implement a VDI in the cloud, all the hardware and software is bought and owned by a third-party company. Assuming for example, your company, somebody should give us the name of the company. We want to create the company right now. We need to have servers to hold the company data, web, and a centralized means for people to connect and work together. So let's get a name of a company real quick. Guys, hit me up. Name of a company.
Ghana Aero LC.
Beg your pardon?
Ghana Aero LC.
Type it in the comment section. What we are going to do right now is that I'm going to hop to my Amazon, to my AWS account, and we are going to create a server. We're going to create a server. Actually, we are going to create a server online, a cloud server, and all of you that are here in this class, you're going to connect to that server. And then you'll see the monitor. You will see all of you will be able to use a single, the VDI, the virtual desktop of that server on your computers over the network. How many people are using their phones to connect to work in this class? How many people? Who are those using their phones? Cynthia. Mazule, are you connected with your phone?
Yes, I'm connected with the phone.
Can you switch to your laptop? We need to go practical right now. We need to go practical. So Food Tech Limited. Okay. Food Tech Limited, all of us are employees at Food Tech Limited, assumingly. We are all employees at Food Tech Limited. So let's just finish with our presentation before we go to the implementation. So there is also another type of virtualization, which is referred to as container virtualization. The container is the stands in between the operating system and the various virtual operating systems that are going to install them in the form of containers. Okay, so it's just it's another type of implementation of virtualization. So the differences or the characteristics that make these two people to be distinct, VMs, virtual machines, and containers, is that containers are lightweight, they are less portable as compared to virtual machines. They are smaller, they start faster, and there is a layer of modularity. Whereas with VMs are heavy, they are more portable, they are larger, and they take longer time to boot up. That being said, we have come to the end of this chapter 6. Summarily, we talked about virtualization, hypervisor types, virtual desktop, container virtualization, and security. So security, we skip the security, sorry. Virtualization security are just the various things that you can implement to make sure that your virtual environment is safe. You can secure the host platform, like the host platform, the operating system that is carrying all the virtual systems. Say you have Linux installed in your Windows operating system, you make sure that your Windows system has a password. You have to develop managing procedures. Make sure that everybody that are using those resources, they are passing through they have particular privileges. You secure your virtual networks by like installing virtual firewalls and all the other network security methods, and then document the virtual networks and the virtual machine, making sure that you have a proper handwritten explanation of how these various components interact. We have come to the end of this presentation, and we are going to continue now with the presentation, installation of a cloud infrastructure. I want to see. Okay. Okay. Are you guys connected already? Are you connected now? I'm going to launch an instance real quick. And all of you will connect to it. Mr. Etienne.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Elise.
Good evening. How are you doing today?
All is well, we thank God. Hope you are doing great too.
Yes, all is well. I'm trying to launch an EC2 instance, a server, to show these people how you implement virtual desktop environments where everybody is going to connect. Guys, give me 1 second, please.
Wow. I should say the class this evening is really blessed for you to expose them on the Amazon Web Service platform, whereby they can have a view on how an EC2 instance is being launched. Is a great privilege because at the level of CompTIA, I don't think we have ever been exposed to this before. That's so great. And to all the students in class, you guys should really take notes, and I think you should take every step he is teaching into consideration, because this is one of the biggest deal in the information technology scope. Yeah, because this is already cloud engineering that you are being taught. So take note of it. It's so cool. Well, so you have any trouble launching into your account? Hello, Mr. Ellis Brown.
Oh, yes, sorry. I thought I was muted. I'm trying to get in. My account is, so for some reasons, I cannot access my account. Uh,
If you try continuously and it's disturbing, you can try to open it from your email.
I actually remember my password is that I set up multi-factor authentication.
Okay.
Yes, I've set up multi-factor authentication, so that's what seems to be failing. Because the password is okay. If the password was not okay, I will not be able to proceed to MFA. Now that I'm at MFA, I think I have to troubleshoot it because, okay. Sorry, guys. Just that what I want to do is very, very important. That's why I'm taking the time to go through all of this.
Yeah. I just you guys should just exercise patience. Actually, I must tell you, this is so super important, because you'll be exposed to the Amazon Web Service console, and this is where the big deal is found. When we hear about cloud engineering, this is actually cloud engineering he wants to expose you guys to, even though it's just going to be a tip, but it's just so important. Yeah, getting to be exposed to an EC2 instance is just like you getting to know how big or organ great media like Facebook and WhatsApp, how they function, where they have a server somewhere that all the people using WhatsApp and Facebook information are being stored, and you don't need to have a physical computer, but there's a computer somewhere in the space, actually, as they call it, which is actually visible somewhere. Yeah, that's what he wants to expose to you guys. It's so great and cool. We just pray he gets access into his account. So far, the MFA code is not troubleshooting well. You can't get it.
No, there's a problem, which seems for some reasons the code is not going through, but that's what the authentication app is giving me.
Well,
Is your account active? Is your account active?
I told you I bought a lot of shares. I have to pay those shares before I can connect to my account. I haven't paid yet. Sorry.
Let me see if I can go to. Let's see if we can to Azure. I think It's basically the same implementation, right? Microsoft Azure. I was using Amazon Web Services, AWS. So let me try to log into or create an Azure account. It's
Okay.
worth the time. So
Yeah, actually, it's worth the time. It's actually worth the time. Yeah, check the code in your email. I think this one will be very easy.
Yeah, it has worked.
Great, that's great.
So
This is the work of an IT personnel. You are always troubleshooting, always trying to find different means. The fact that it did not work using method A doesn't mean it will not work using method B.
Microsoft and Amazon are behaving anyhow. I think when I'll fix, particularly with the Amazon AWS, I'll make sure that I've troubleshooted the error that is going, that is this problem here, and then I'll make sure that we get back to your console. This is the Google Cloud space, all right? The Google Cloud platform. Ms. Nafisa, are you in class? Ms. Nafisa. And Ms. Nafisa hear me? While it's loading, let me try it one more time. I want you guys to understand that within your IT career, right, creating resources is not even going to be a major part of your job. The greatest part of your job will be to solve problems, troubleshoot, look for the reasons why things are not working, try alternative ways to go around them. That's basically what your whole career will be all about. Because you cannot tell me, let's say you're working as a cloud engineer, and your task is to create basically, okay, with as a cloud engineer, you create resources, right? You create resources. If you end up creating these resources one time, how many times do you think a company will need to be creating resources? Most of the time, it will be just to like troubleshoot why this is not working or whatever. I'm even going to the cloud milieu when we have a local example here. Let's say you have set up computers within an environment, a working space. You're an IT technician. Thanks to your CompTIA, you gain a help desk or an IT specialist, IT technician role within the company, and you find yourself working in that space. But then, as you're working in that space, one thing that happens is that the company will generally require that you install. The company will require that you install their computers. That's just one time. Is it every day that you install computers? No. The greatest part would be to the highest part here will always be to troubleshoot, look for where problems occur, solve these problems. Okay. Yeah. So that's just it, guys. That's just it. I'm resetting my passwords, guys. Just bear with me. Okay. I think okay, everyone. It has worked. It has worked. I'm very sure. Yes, it has worked. So now we are just going to create the resource real quick. We're going to create the virtual machine. I want to make sure that everyone here is connecting from their laptop. Make sure that everyone is connecting from their laptop and they have stable internet, because you're going to remotely enter this my instance. Okay, I'm going to send you to this instance. Okay, so let me start by creating myself a keeper that I will save. Mr. Etienne.
Yes, sir.
We create keepers to connect to Linux, right?
Yeah. You need a keeper
creating,
to connect your Linux machine.
I don't think we're creating a Linux machine. So
No.
EC2 dashboard.
Just go to something that everybody in this class is familiar with. I think you should go with the Windows, something
Yes.
simple, at least.
Yeah, I'll go with the Windows Server. Let me install a Windows Server. I'll first start with let me create a VPC, right? The VPC and the subnet.
Please just take it gradually with them, because this platform obviously should be very new, complex, and complicated to everyone in this class, I know. So just first of all, tell them what the EC2 is all about, why we have to create it, and how it's going to function and stuff like that, so that at least they can get a glimpse of it.
Oh, I don't actually intend for them for right now. We can schedule that, because it's not within the scope of our program. I just wanted to show them how you implement a virtual desktop environment in the cloud, having several computers connect to particular interfaces or desktop environments found somewhere on the internet. So I'll just create this real quick. and then I'll give you guys access to connect to this interface, connect to this resource, and you'll see that all of us will be seeing the same monitor, though we are found at different places
Yeah.
in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, perfect.
Please,
If they'll be
please
interested
make
in
sure you find
this, then come in for the cloud service, the cloud program. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Please make sure that you have you're connecting with your laptops. Do make sure you're connecting with your laptops. Okay. I'll create a subnet. Oh, I did not create my VPC. So I will create myself a VPC. I will say VPC. We call this Tech dash VPC. Okay. We use a yes, we use a 10.0.0.0/24. The tenancy, we use default tenancy, no IP16 block. I want to just call this test environment. Okay. So I've created this VPC. Now I go to subnet. Okay, the subnet. Select this VPC, select my VPC. Go down and call it Tech dash VPC. Availability zone. No, don't want it. I want it available in the North Europe, Stockholm, and then CTI block. So and uh 16. So when you guys hear about cloud computing, this is basically what it's all about. What you see me do right now, that's basically all that you do. That's all that you do. Okay, I've created a subnet. Now, okay, I will go and create the instance. We create the virtual, we create the machine. So don't worry very much about what you're seeing right now. I'm just going to set up the computer, and then you guys are going to be able to connect to it. Okay, so we find ourselves here now. We're going to start an EC2 instance. So launch an instance. I'll create a computer right now in the cloud. I'll create the computer, and you guys are going to be, as we said earlier, don't bother very much about what you see me doing. That's what we're creating ourselves. What was the name of the company this boy said in the group? I think he said Food Tech Limited. So the company we're creating this server for is Food Tech Limited. And we're going to use Windows Server. We're going to use a Windows Server, Windows 2022 base. Yes, we're going to use that. I will just change to the T2 micro. T2 micro. Okay. Okay. We select the key pair. Okay. I've created a key pair. It has, you notice here, it has downloaded. The key pair has downloaded. So the security group, I want to seek traffic. No. Okay, because I want you people to access this, all of you, because I want all of you to be able to access it. I'm just going to leave RDP traffic from everybody on the internet. So yeah, so we're going to leave everything else the way it is. Yes, we're going to leave everything else the way it is. We just auto assign IP address. We want to make sure that IP address is auto assigned. Everything else is the same. Just going to launch one instance. So let's see. Okay. Here we go. Launch this instance and the server will be created. Once the server is created, I want everybody to go on their computer. On the search bar, you type RDP, or you type remote desktop connection. You see an application like this one that will pop up. You open it up. I want to believe that you all are using Windows machine. So yes, when you type RDP, on your search bar, type RDP of your local machine.
I don't understand.
What I'm saying is that on your search bar, on your computer search bar, you type RTP or remote desktop connection. You open this application will come, you open the application. You can see the application, right? This one here. This one, this application will open. We just have to hold it and then wait. Now our machine has the server has launched. So we have created a VDI, a virtual desktop environment, or a server, a machine on the internet. So in a cloud. Now all of you are going to access it, assuming that all of you are staff of the company, FoodTech Limited. All of you are the staffs of that company. You can now access those resources. Okay. Okay. This is FoodTech. This is FoodTech. It is we're just going to wait for the state to change here from initializing to ready. Just wait for that state to change. We'll keep refreshing. Yes, we keep refreshing. Okay, two checks. The checks have passed. Now we can begin connecting to this instance. So we have to just select this instance and then connect to it. Let's select the instance. Now that the instance is selected, you can see here we have all details about this instance, like the IP address, the public IP address, and other information under security, networking, storage, and other details. So that being said, we're just going to tap connect. I'm going to share with you a particular file. You're connecting with an. Have you guys connected with the RGP file? Have you all used the RGP file? Sorry, have you opened?
Connected it. I've opened it already, sir.
Okay, you have opened RGP.
Yes, sir.
Mazule, have you opened RGP? Mazule, Cynthia, and Zidane, have you guys opened RGP? Can they hear me? Mazule, Cynthia, and Zidane.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you all should type your emails in the chat. All of you should type your emails in the chat real quick, please. I want to share you some files. I'll give you the password or do you know what? Just leave it like that. Leave it like that. I'll put the information that you need in the chat. This is the IP address that we're going to be using. So this is the server IP. Paste it there. I've sent the server IP. The username also. The username is going to be administrator. Okay. When you'll be asked username, it will be administrator. username administrator. Then let me get the password. Okay, this here is a password to that instance. Copy it. Now, I want you people to first of all see me connect to the instance, okay? I want you all to first of all see me connect to this instance. So let me copy it and send in the group. But you all have to wait before and see the way I connect to the instance, so that when you all connect, you see the same thing too. I'll copy this IP address and then put it in my RGP, the remote desktop, this one that you see here. So I'll put that IP here, and then the username. Yes, show options. What is the username is administrator. Username is administrator, and I just take connect. Now they'll ask me for the password. This is the password. It is initializing remote connect, remote RGP. We're connecting to RGP. So you ask for the password, I'll put the password and sorry guys. Just permit me to do something. Oh, the inbound rules. There is no, oh, I see. There is no rule for
The thing is a problem.
1 minute, guys, please. I did not
That's what it means.
the reason why we have not connected is because there is no rule for RGP. All the protocols here at CCP, we're going to set up a rule for IDP and make sure that everybody can access this resource.
We gonna go.
So I'll just edit the security group real quick. Edit inbound rules. Okay, so we want to make sure that we receive RGP RGP from anywhere. RGB to normally I'm not supposed to leave RGB connection to everybody. Not everybody is supposed to get RGB
Mesmo, okay.
because not everyone is supposed to get access to connect through RGB. But then we'll just do it like that because I need you guys to access the resources. So hey guys, there is an error that is occurring right now. I don't want us to spend our time the whole time trying to resolve it. So what I'm going to do is I'll troubleshoot the error after this, and then I make sure that before our next session, or we can arrange a session just for us to do this out of our regular time because it's going to use up a lot of our time. So, but everything is set up. There's just some issue somewhere. There is an issue somewhere. Nonetheless, we're going to look at it once I've solved that error. So in the meantime, we can switch real quick to the chapter 7. But the idea was, sorry for wasting much of your time. The idea was to finish, make you guys be able to connect to that computer. The computer is already set up, by the way, which I have to, if I don't delete after this, is going to use up, I'm going to pay for those resources. So I'll just make sure I delete the resources after this. And that being said, let's finish. Let's continue with our class.
My time
Okay.
up in
I beg your pardon. So we are beginning with chapter 7, guys. We start with chapter 7 right now. Time so I can share the slides. Okay. Okay. Y'all are welcome to the next section. Before we start, I would like to give you like 5 minutes to go rest, 5 minutes to take some air before you start getting new information. It is currently, the time right now is 35 minutes past 8, exactly 40 minutes past 8. We're going to continue. So use just 5 minutes to refresh yourself. See you in 5 minutes. Okay, you're welcome back. You're welcome. Going to quickly share the slide again and continue from there. So, can you all see the shared screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think I'm well soon.
Okay. So, guys, within this chapter 7.7, chapter 7, the 7.1, we'll be looking at the various tools that you use to manage your Windows operating system, that you use to analyze performance and data analytics. So generally, you're going to learn how to use the task manager, how to use the control panel, the Windows Management Console, system information, Regedit, use event viewer, and explore other system commands. So those are the skills that you get at the end of this module. So some key terms that we're going to be talking of here are like a process. What is a process? A service, the MMC or the Microsoft Management Console, Windows Firewall, computer management, Microsoft Terminal Service Clients, Windows Update, and Open Database Connectivity or ODBC. First, what is a process? A process is an instance of a computer program that is being executed. So when one instance of a program is being executed, that instance is referred to as a process. So a service, on the other hand, is a program that processes requests from other applications or users. So that service is just there. It's receiving it's working on several processes. So it's basically a program that works on several processes that are being sent from different applications or users. Let's say the print service, the print spooler. The print spooler is a service that is in charge of managing print service, every printing task within your computer. So if I do this, we are going to be leaving a lot to go to my computer because you guys will have to see the thing that I'll be implementing every single one of them. So I'll open services real quick, and then I'll show you the print spooler. Okay, the print spooler is the service that manages printing. So that being said, as it is loading, we'll continue with what the Microsoft Management Console is, or the MMC. It is a framework that provides a common user interface for performing system administrative tasks. The Windows Firewall is a security application created by Microsoft, and it is built into Windows. Computer management is a collection of Windows administrative tools or snappings that are used to manage a computer. So Windows, the services, it has finished loading. So I will just share it real quick. Can you guys see the screen, the new screen that is sharing? Can you guys see the new screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is basically like all the services that are inside Microsoft right now. If you scroll down to particularly, you can see there are other services like Bluetooth, Bitdefender, VPN service, Virus Shield, and all the rest. They are all, the state is running. If I go and actually scroll down to, I wanted to show you the print spooler. The print spooler is at P. Yeah, this is the print spooler. The service is running. Sometimes you'll be launching printing in your company or in your environment, and it will not be working. That's because maybe the print spooler service has an issue. So one way for you to look at this, or one way for you to arrange this, is like come into the service, stop print spooler, and then you start it back immediately afterwards. You start the print spooler back. If print spooler is not functioning right now, there's not all the printing services within my machine are not going to be able to work. I won't be able to print a PDF. I will not be able to print a document to my printer, my scanner, whatever it is not going to work. So these are services, right? Programs that receive processes from various or softwares or users on the computer. I believe that makes sense to you. So there are other services like the RGP service, the remote desktop protocol, remote registry, and a lot more. So that was just to talk about the services model. I'm going to share the next screen. I'm going to continue with the screen where we continue with our class. So, okay. So basically, the Microsoft Terminal Service, computer management, Windows Update, and Open Database. We're going to look at those as we continue. Let me show you real quick what the MMC looks like, the Microsoft Management Console. So MMC, the Microsoft Management Console. It's going to take some of our time, so I'm just going to continue. We'll do that some other time. So the next year is chapter 7.2, which is Windows settings, the various settings inside Windows, how you use to personalize, configure region and language options, and index files. When we talk about file indexing, it is about what appears on your search bar when you start searching. Do you want the specific places that you want to be showing up and those that you don't want to be showing up? So you can quickly go into your search bar and you type indexing option, and you're going to see that option pop up, and we're going to be able to use that as a means to configure how things are being searched on our PC, organized in general. So first of all, the settings app is a configuration that defines how an application or operating system or a piece of hardware performs or it appears. Permission, on the other hand, is an authorization that is granted to a user or group to access and perform other tasks on a network resource. The reason why I'm saying all these concepts and explaining them is because we are going to be using them inside the chapter. Indexing is a method of searching and organizing files and content on a PC, okay? So when we configure our indexing properly, we're going to be able to organize and search properly within our system. The lock screen is a security measure that displays an image, the date and time when the computer is locked. You can add preferred applications such as the calendar, email services, or other ones to your lock screen. The theme in general is a group of settings that allows you to customize the way the Windows desktop appears. Do you want it to be dark? Do you want it to be light? Those are the various themes that you can implement in the Windows. The taskbar is an area located at the bottom of the Windows desktop that displays icons for open and pinned apps. You can right-click the icon for additional actions. I believe a lot of you have been dealing with that already. We're going to configure indexing real quick on my computer. I want us to configure indexing all together. So I'm just going to open indexing options real quick, and then I'll share that screen and we configure it. Okay. Okay, I think it has opened up now. So I'll just share the screen real quick. Josh, prepare to open up indexing on your computer. As you guys can see, these are the various indexing locations of my PC, where the places where things will be searched when I start where we'll get results from when we start searching my computer. If I take modify here, if I click on modify, you will see that I can add locations. I can show all the locations on my PC, then start selecting them, selecting where I want things to be, what I want to be indexed when I search. Do I want only things from like this place, from my Windows, from the users to show, from XAMPP, from Intel, or do I just want everything inside the C drive to be showing when on the search bar, on this normal search bar, when someone clicks on search? So that being said, I will just cancel this. You can implement it on your computer. George, start sharing your screen. George, share your screen. You're authorized to share your screen. Seems like Josh cannot hear me. Mazule, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Please share your screen. Please share your laptop screen and search indexing on the search bar. Indexing options. We are going to configure indexing. Josh has started sharing. That's fine. So yes. So what you should do, Josh, is to search indexing options. Yes, that's it. Open it up. Open indexing options, and then you're going to configure how things are being indexed on your PC. What are the things that are supposed to appear and those that are not supposed to appear? So from the look of things, yes, you've opened it twice. Close one. Mazule, open your indexing options too. We are going to look at your screen immediately after. So go to modify. You can click on modify. Yes, and then you see the amount of the locations. Look at the locations that are unticked. So when you search on your search bar right now, all the resources that are inside local disk C and local disk D will not be shown on the search bar. So you might have files inside these locations and you are not being able to see them when you search. You might think that it's a problem. It's just because you have not indexed them. You have not indexed those locations. So go ahead and tick those boxes. Now, okay, take okay.
Yes, I've done it.
Okay, so you now see that those two locations have now appeared on this interface. I think you should close that now. And if you search, it's going to show results on from all those interfaces. Mazule, can we see yours too? Stop your screen sharing. I'll just so don't worry. Mazule, share your screen, please. Mazule. Okay. I think she's having a technical difficulty. So we're just going to go ahead and continue with the class. Cool. Now, let's look at this performance monitoring. How do you monitor performance on your PC? Some concepts that we have here are you have the time to read all of these, but those are all concepts that are related to you using your computer on daily basis. We have a page file trashing, processor utilization, which are all features that there are all things that happen within your computer system. So very quickly, I'm going to show you the various tools that you use to monitor performance on your computer. We have the task manager, the resource monitor, and performance monitor. I'm going to open all of them real quick. Performance monitor, open. Resource monitor. Resource monitor, and task manager. Okay. All right. All of them are open now. So I'll just go ahead and share my entire screen so you guys can see. Okay, let's start with the resource monitor, okay? Right now, you guys can see this screen here. which is called the resource monitor screen. Basically, it is that screen where you can see the activities that are going up, that are happening on your disk. If you go, this is here. This option here is to customize the sizes of the graph that are displaying the active data transfer rate of the various components. You can also see that the CPU, these are all the activities that the CPU is currently executing. If you look at this list, those are all the services, the processes that the CPU is currently executing. And from the look of things, I have 197, between 80 to 100% CPU utilization. You can see that the chart for CPU, if I double click, okay, this is not the interface, but definitely you can see that the green lines indicate the input output rate, and then the highest active time is that in the blue line. Good. Let's go down now to the hard disk. The hard disk that is currently in my machine is an HDD, and these are all the processes that are running on this hard disk. We have here the process ID, the location, and other information. This crisp, I don't remember using it again, but it's there. So you can see now that my hard disk is having a lot of things going on, and that's why this chart is the way it is. You can do same on your PC, okay? You can basically do same on your PC. Now, leaving the hard disk, let's go to the network. This is my network utilization. You can currently see that Zoom up here is the highest person utilizing my network, the bandwidth and everything. So you see, this is the used physical storage of the, for the network. This is the network speed in green, and the network utilization, the maximum network utilization in blue. So that is it that you see here at 1 megabytes per second at the top there. I'm constantly going above that bar. Last but not the least, we're going to look at the memory utilization. This is in terms of RAM, the RAM utilization. You see this line that is up here blue, it is a physical memory, the physical memory which is being used, and yeah, basically that's just it. That's for the resource monitor. Now we're going to look at the performance monitor, okay? Let's look at the performance monitor. Where's the screen? Okay, I want to believe that you guys can see the screen, the performance monitor. Here you can basically analyze almost the same kind of data that you saw. We are also analyzing on the other interface. So you can also look at reports, user-defined reports, and system reports. All are those. This is just another set of tools permitting you to analyze how your computer is working. That being said, the gist is for the processor, right? Performance monitor is actually monitoring my processor. You can see this is the topmost play, the 100% utilization, 0% utilization. This is where I'm finding myself. This is around where my CPU is being utilized. So I'm just going to close that real quick and then open the task bar, the task manager. Okay, this is here the task manager. The task manager is so important tool or complex tool that I cannot just use this brief explanation to talk about it. But having in mind that in Task Manager, when things are not functioning well in your PC, you can look at the various tasks that are working or using your system resources, and you can stop them. Say, for instance, this is Chrome. Chrome is utilizing a lot of my resources. I can look at 1.5 gigabyte is being used by Chrome. I can just right click on it, and you see here, end task, resource values, the resource that the RAM that Chrome is using, the hard disk that it's using, and other information. So you're going to continue with the other things that you can do. Yeah, there's apart from this is the main interface of the task manager. When you open the task manager, you see processes here, but then you can also go to performance monitor. That interface that we saw previously, this is basically the same thing right here. This is just the same thing right here. So you can see the CPU utilization, the memory utilization or RAM, it is a constantly high, right? We also have the disk utilization. Because I'm not doing a lot of things that are disk memory intensive, That's why you see that my utilization is very, 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 very low. Ethernet, I'm currently not connected through Ethernet, but I'm connected through a Wi-Fi connection. So there you see my data transfer rate of Wi-Fi. 3.6 Mbps is the highest transfer or the highest throughput that I've experienced on this network. That's where you see this line up here standing from. That's the signal strength, IP address, and other information. Okay. So we also have application history, like the apps that run on this PC for a particular time frame. You can also decide here to start an application. This is the startup info here is just telling you which applications start when you turn on your computer. You can come here to disable them if your computer is running slow. When your computer starts running slow, you can go directly into the task manager and come here as startup apps. Though there are other interfaces where you can manage that, but I prefer that you should come here and then you can look at those applications that are not very necessary to you. You will see here the status of those applications, like say BD agent. This is Bitdefender, the antivirus that's installed on my machine. The status is enabled, which means that it starts up on as soon as the computer starts. It starts up already like 2.7 seconds. Immediately the computer turns on. You will see other ones like FDM, File Download Manager. Currently, it is not operating, so I'll just disable it. And there are other Figma agent. I'm not using Figma right now, so I'll disable it. I can start it up whenever I need it to. Crisp AI, every other thing, they are being disabled when I'm not using them. So Spotify is also enabled. I'll only enable it when I want to use it. Same for every other thing. So that's just to increase the resources of your PC. Also, if your PC has several users, like maybe you've interconnected many people to utilize your computer, one computer, the various user accounts that are there, you can come here to disconnect this user. By clicking here, we disconnect this user. By clicking here, we can manage user accounts by like adding users or removing users. We see the amount of this is the account management interface. Basically, you can add another user, remove users on your PC. I believe, guys, that you guys understand how that works. You have where you simply have many accounts on one computer, right? So details here are just all the processes that are running on your computer, absolutely all of them with their associated information. You can end any of this task by a single click. You select and you click end task, select end task. And that's if these processes are using a lot of your resources. The services application that we open also, and we went and saw the Printspooler, we can also see that interface here. If you look here, we'll also see the Printspooler should be somewhere here. Nonetheless, this is the spooler, yes. This is the Printspooler. The description Printspooler, process ID, it is currently running. So if I have to stop this process, guys, I will not be able to print anything on this computer. Remote desktop configuration, same thing. During our next session, we are going to make sure that I'm going to make sure that you guys understand what the RDP protocol is all about. And then you're going to actually connect yourself to one person's computer, right? We're going to configure all of you here to be able to connect to your individual computers. So just have in mind that that's what we're going to do during our upcoming sessions. So we have looked at task manager, resource monitor, and performance monitor. If everything is right, these are the things that you saw there. The interviews that you saw were just the same. I don't want to go too technical because that much of technical information is not very, very necessary. Windows application management. Guys, we have, let me check the time. Okay, we have barely 23 minutes to go. Section, okay. In this module, Windows application. Okay, just before we continue, guys, do you guys have any questions? Let's take your questions and solve them before we proceed. Do you all have any questions? Do you guys have a question? Okay, I believe that's a no. So, yeah. Any question, Mazule? Do you have any question, Mazule? Mazule, do you have any question?
No, sir, no question.
Okay, you don't have a question. All right. So, that being said, did you follow? I think you left the meeting. Did you follow everything we're explaining in 7.3 about the various applications that you use to monitor system performance?
Yeah, I followed it.
Okay. I believe you understood everything, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have any question at any point in time, don't hesitate to ask me. So now we're talking on Windows application management, managing the applications that are installed on the Windows operating system. So like managing the store apps, repairing programs, configuring compatibility, scheduling tasks, and all the like. When we talk about compatibility mode, it's like 64-bit processor and 32-bit processor. You should already understand that with the 32-bit processor on a computer, the maximum amount of RAM that you can have, that it can address, is 4 GB of RAM. So, okay, Amanda, go ahead.
Sorry, sir, it was a mistake.
It's all right.
It was an error.
Okay. So, some of the definitions that we're going to get here is what's an application, what's a compatibility mode, the program files, and the types of processors. Okay. Then we're okay. An application is a software program that performs a specific task or functions on a computer or device. That is understood. Compatibility mode is a Windows feature that allows you to run an older program using settings from a previous version of Windows. This means that assuming I have an application that was working on Windows 7 only, now I move to Windows 11. How do I run that application on my Windows 10 computer, whereas it was meant to run only on Windows 7? I really need that application. So there is a particular mode in your PC, which is called compatibility mode, that you can use to run previous older versions of applications. So if you go to your PC search bar and start typing compatibility mode, you will see something that will come up and will be run programs made for previous versions of Windows. If you do that, you'll be able to install applications from older versions. So that is what compatibility mode is all about. Program files is a standard folder in Microsoft Windows operating system in which applications are typically installed. So when you launch an installation, if you don't intervene, that application will be installed in the program files folder. A 64-bit processor is a processing unit that can compress 64 bits of data at a time. The maximum amount of memory that it can address is 200 GB for high-end workstations, sometimes even more. For the 32-bit processor, instead, it's a central processing unit. A central processing a 32-bit processor is a CPU that can process 32 bits of information at a time, and the maximum amount of memory that it can address is 4 GB. How do you know the type of processor that your computer has? If you have a 32-bit or a 64-bit computer, how do you know that even? The way you know that is by going to your system properties, and you will see it clearly written there, or you go to your command prompts. If you go to command prompt and type system info, no space, all small letters, you will see all the details of your computer, and among them you see your computer's architecture, and the architecture will be displayed. Generally, these days, most common architectures are 64-bit architectures. But if your PC happens to be 32-bit architecture, it's going to just process 32 bits of data at a time. But the catch here is, when you feel like 32-bit is actually very slow, it's not working very fast, and you go and add your RAM. If you add anything above 4 GB of RAM, you're just wasting your money. The maximum amount of RAM that 32-bit systems can address is just 4 GB of RAM. So that being said, let's look at this. Inside your settings, Windows application settings, if you go to system, if you open the settings app, systems, and about, you're going to see the application, you're going to see the operating system architecture. So some next is your GPU. Look at here, look right here. I think I'm going too fast. Okay. Yeah, right here is what is, you see, right? 64-bit operating system. The processor is times 64 based. Next, there are some graphics cards that come separately. Other graphics cards are dedicated, which means it comes separately. There are some, this graphic card here is one that you actually install individually. It has all its own unit and its virtual RAM. But then there are other graphic cards that are referred to as iGPU. They are integrated graphics processing unit, which are found inside the CPU's processor. Now talk about the RAM. I believe all of you here should understand how the RAM works, but I'm just going to say it anyways. This is a scenario to explain the functionality of RAM in the computer. The cupboard under the table that stores files permanently, it can be the hard drive or the SSD. The person who is analyzing these documents is the CPU, and then the archives, the folders that store the document that you take and put beside you to analyze is what the RAM is. So you see your storage requirement, right? The application storage needs, you need like a hard disk drive or a solid state drive to store your information. The processing unit is tasked with retrieving information, decoding and performing the calculations. So that in that case, that will be a person. Some external hardware tokens are just keys that permit you to authenticate or store and transfer information. Now we talk about operating system compatibility. The various operating systems that you see are Windows, Linux, and the Mac operating system. You guys remember we talked about Windows installation and all the compatibility stuff. So that being said, you can install Windows through the optical disk or by downloading the ISO file, then burning it to an external device. Here we're talking of impact consideration, the impacts of these various the impact of your computer's resources, right? The various impact that these resources have on your company. So what impact does RAM and storage have? What impact does the network bandwidth have? What impact does it have on your business goals? The operational impact and the resource impact. In order to install files in Windows, installing files can be done through the use of .exe or .msi files. So the programs have the extension .exe or .msi. The zip file here is just a means of compressing files, then making it available at a smaller size. A restore point. Remember, I talked about restore point here the other time, and we said that a restore point is a means of like securing your, like backing up a current state of your computer, which is functional. Let's say today is what is the date of today? Today is the 19th of November 2023. My computer is functioning perfectly fine. Now, if I create a restore point now, because I created a restore point yesterday. If I create a restore point now, it is going to override what was stored yesterday. It's just like a backup, but it simply stores information about my PC at the point where it is working fine, so that if in days to come or months to come, I face issues with my computer, I can easily roll back. I can easily roll back to that state of my computer that was functioning properly using a restore point. So in order to create a restore point, this is what you do. You go to the search bar and you type restore point. You'll see there it appears create a restore point. So let me just share that window with you. Create a restore point. Yes, this is it. Yeah, this is the window that appears to you. Create a restore point. When this appears, you have to like choose system restore. This is going to like take your PC back to a state where it was working fine. But most of the time, you're not even be able to access your computer to get to this stage. So you have to do it when maybe in your computer's BIOS or so. That is not difficult. There you're going to see them eventually. So in order to create a restore point, I just have to click on create, put the name of that restore point. It's going to attach the date and the time there for me, and I'll create a restore point. So to give you guys the task, Mazule, create a restore point. George, create a restore point on your computer to make sure that you have saved the current state of your PC that works well. So Windows management. To manage applications on your computer, you can use the Windows settings application or the control panel. Summarily, we have talked about system requirements, distribution methods, considerations, some installation basics, and how you manage applications. Okay. Now, Linux application management, I'm going to skip, and then we will attend this session when I've switched to my Linux system, because currently I am dual booting, and the other operating system is Ubuntu. So when I switch to Ubuntu, we are going to look at Linux application while actually performing the various tasks that we have here. Digital content management, just like digital rights, proprietary principles, and end user license agreement. What are all these documents? What are all these documents? Digital rights management is a software and hardware security limitations that are meant to protect digital content and prevent piracy. When we talk about proprietary, software being proprietary, it means that there's exclusive ownership or holding exclusive rights to something. Open source, on the other hand, it's a software on our operating system whose source code is distributed under the GNU or General Public License, free to anyone. So the software operating system source code can be modified and distributed under the GPL without any extra cost or any charges at all. The end user license agreement is a legal contract detailing terms of use between a software application, the author or publisher, and the end user of that application. So generally, the main categories of software are either proprietary, or we either say software is proprietary or it is open source. So that's for software licensing. Alternatively, excuse me. Okay. So alternatively, the proprietary model, either way, sorry. Okay. Personal licenses. Okay, so I'm just going to go at the various, or skip to the various types of licenses that we have. There are generally personal licenses and enterprise licenses, where the personal is generally for people, for individuals, the home, or small enterprises, while enterprise licenses are like those for big corporations. So you can buy Microsoft Word one time and install on all computers in your company. Within the open source licensing model, apps are freely distributed. The source code is accessible and source code can be modified. And then the modified code can be shared also to the community. Okay, good. So the revenue options are like contribution from the people that are using it, the added functionality, the support contracts, like when you get it for someone to help you, training contracts, partnerships, and other subscriptions. So summarily, we've talked about proprietary licensing, the personal and enterprise license, and then the revenue stream for open source licensing. DRM, or Digital Rights Management, is enacted by the Digital Millennium Copyright Act in the United States, and it's an office that manages digital rights or the anti-piracy of softwares. In order to encrypt protection, encrypt or protect a copy of a software, in order to protect the copy of the software, you can encrypt them using fingerprinting, right? And then using digital watermarks that are embedded traceable information. I believe you guys know what a watermark is, because most of you here are already into the IT field. Okay. That being said, in order to activate your licensing, the licenses, you can use an online activation or an enterprise, or for your personal license or the enterprise license. You can do a one-time activation or persistent activation. One time means that you just activate it one time and the software is forever open, and persistent is one in which you from time to time have to resubscribe to that service and activate your software. Okay. Now we're talking about virtual memory, paging, distraction, and all the like. I believe that you guys understand how RAM works. But then within a system where RAM is being limited, if we have a computer system where the amount of RAM is being limited, we can introduce what we call paging, which is a system of using the hard drive to play the role of a RAM. So you can see here that the space that is short on the physical RAM can be gotten from a hard drive. So the hard drive will create a folder, which is a paging folder, and then these two modules here are then the space that is going to be used to complete the physical RAM. So we find now ourselves with a state where the RAM is being and the hard drive are all mapped. The hard drive is being mapped to the memory through the CPU. So much so that folder is being used to store applications. Look right here. The application that is going to be overflowed in the memory is going to move to the paging file and so on and so forth. The data can simply move back again and be stored in the hard drive and is read when the app2 overflows or whatever the RAM can no longer support. So it constantly swaps, right? It constantly swaps between the hard disk and the RAM in order to maintain that, make sure that your computer is operating smoothly. Generally, your RAM is going to that's why when you're using your devices, the operating system will never allow your storage to go completely full. Reason being that there are times where your RAM is not going to be enough, and the operating system will need to create paging files, which is going to convert some portion of your hard disk as into RAM. So that's why you have to face that situation. Now, in a situation where your hard disk is constantly blinking, your PC has generally slowed down. Everything is just so slow. It is a scenario referred to as disk crashing. What is disk crashing? It is that scenario whereby your hard disk is constantly being paged. Like space of your hard disk is constantly being used for RAM purpose, given that your RAM is already overflooded. The effects are that the lights are currently on your hard disk, and then the applications slow down considerably, given that your hard disk is not meant to work as RAM. In order to prevent disk crashing, you should unload necessary applications, which means you should close applications that you're no longer using, and you should add more physical RAM into your computer. How do you even create virtual memory in your computer? To create virtual memory or paging. Guys, are you tired? I can no longer hear you. Are you guys tired? Hello?
No, sir.
Are you tired?
Network is really bad.
Should we leave it here and continue some other time? Should we leave it here? Okay. I think we should just finish this virtual memory module and we're going to call it a day. In order to configure your virtual memory, right? What you need to do is you click on your search bar and you type system properties, or inside your phone, inside your computer settings, you go to system and then you take about. You will see the system properties. When you click system properties, you move to the advanced tab, as you can see on this image. Once on the advanced tab, you click on settings and then you will face yourself with this interface. Now you see visual effects and advanced. You move to advanced and then you take change virtual memory here. On the section that is down is virtual memory, you click on change, and then you will now be faced with this interface where you can choose from which disk you want to reduce some space to assign it to your RAM. So if your computer is generally slowing down very much, you can use that method to get some space. So to maximize utilization, okay, always make sure that you get like 1.5 times the physical RAM size. If you have 3 gigabytes of RAM, you can add like 1.5 gigs, or the maximum size you can add is 9 gigabytes from your storage space in order to avoid some space being misused. So the location you can choose to modify where the paging files will be located, right? You can move off system drive for speed improvement, like change it to even from the different types, like change from HDD to SSD. You can create page file on each drive. So you can have many drives in your computer, each of them having a page file. Summarily, we've talked about physical versus virtual memory, how virtual memory works, and virtual memory management. So that being said, you're left with the task to go through the class discussion and talk to us about it. And that will be the end of this session. Do we have any questions? Okay. No question means that we're going to proceed from here. Next Friday we'll be starting from 7.8, then go to chapter 8. I don't think we have much to do again in chapter 7. It's just going to be a quick rundown, but that should be it. Believe since there's no question, I'm just going to stop sharing and we call it a day. Is that all right? We are on time. Okay. Josh.
Uncle?